Welcome back. So today I wanted to share a soil blocking video and show everyone who's been asking how I do it, what works for me, and the steps I've taken to do that. Soil blocking is a really great alternative to like our plastic trays that we normally plant seeds in. If you have those are great to keep using until they're on their last legs. But after that, go ahead and invest in a soil blocker. This is anywhere from $20 to $50, but once you have one of these and a few little trays, then all you need is your soil and seeds, and you won't ever have to deal with plastics again. Soil blocking also produces really strong roots of plants and overall cuts down on any transplant death or shock that plants may be going through when you pull them out of their plastic pots. Sometimes plants actually don't really enjoy that. So with soil blocking, you can get away with a lot of different seeds and seedlings growing that may not like disturbed roots. So I've already mentioned a couple things that you're going to need. So obviously you're going to need a soil blocker. You can get different sizes, and when I say size, it means the size of these cells. This is, I'm pretty sure, a 1-inch size. You can go smaller if you want. Honestly, I like the bigger size. I learned from the pro expert, the flower farmer Lisa Mason Ziegler of the Gardener's Workshop. She has been doing this for close to a couple decades, I want to say. And she recommends doing a bigger size cell soil blocker instead of the tiny ones, because the tiny ones, you're gonna have to pot them up a lot sooner than the bigger ones. You're also gonna need some sort of trays. These trays I got off of Amazon in like a 10-pack. You can also go to the $1.25 store. I got these there last year. So there's a couple different alternatives. Just like with any seed plastic trays, you need to be washing and sanitizing the soil blocker trays as well as your soil blocker. So when you go looking for trays, you can use a variety of things, but I would recommend making sure the walls of the trays are not tall, because it's going to be harder to pour out any excess water if they're really high up. I've tried the aluminum pans from $1.25 store. Those were just a tad bit too tall, so it really made it hard pouring out that extra water. Your type of soil really does matter, so I would recommend doing a couple different things differently. Your soil blocking mix does not want to have perlite or vermiculite in it. Definitely not sand. Those ingredients are not going to be great blocks, because we need our soil to hold those blocks together. And you'll see what I mean when I press the soil down into the tray out of the soil blocker. So a lot of folks recommend the expanding Coco Core, different types of soil. They're peat-free, which is an amazing eco-friendly alternative. This is what I already have in here. When you're getting ready to soil block, you're going to want to make sure that your soil is damp. You need to make sure that it's actually going to have quite a bit of water and it actually holds its shape. And we definitely don't want any soil like our indoor potting soil mixes to have any of those big chunks. I have successfully done some soil blocks with indoor potting soil, but I've had to sift it to make sure it's a really fine consistency. So I've just found, I went to Amazon, ordered this 2 cubic foot. This is going to give me plenty of soil to work with, and it was easy to bring up in my attic. So I've brought you closer to give you an idea of what this mix looks like. So you can see there is water squishing out when I squeeze it. So when we get our soil blocker, we're actually going to do the opposite of what we normally do with the soil in plastic containers. With a soil blocker, you're going to want to have to push all of this soil into these cells until you can't push anymore. This is so it is compact, it's pressed together firmly, and it's not going to fall apart. We don't want any air pockets. So once we have those pressed down as firmly as possible, I like to dust off the bottom just so there's not big heaping clumps of soil all in my tray. Give it one last push. And now I like to do what I call the Dairy Queen test. If your soil doesn't fall out, just like mine was perfectly placed in there, you're ready to press this into a tray. What I'll do now is I've got my tray. I will place my soil block And then I'm going to press down firmly and lift up. Sometimes you might have little issues in the corner, I've found, so you can figure out what's perfect for your mix. Again, this is a newer product for me, but overall, these are really great. And with these corners, once I plant a seed, I can just fix them up like that. So I've successfully sown celery seeds inside of soil blocks before, so I figured I would continue to do that. Sometimes you can't get them perfectly, that's okay. So when you sow inside of these, you can just cover up like normal. You can even get a little bit of your soil in your container, but I just like to lightly do this. Soil blocks are amazing, especially if you need no soil, so a seed needs surface sown. These are great because you don't need to cover them up. So everyone's different when it comes to actually labeling them. I like to get some painter's tape with a Sharpie and put it on the end or the side. I know in the Master Gardener Club that I'm a part of, my head Master Gardener, she puts the plant label just inside the shallow part of your tray right in here. So since my soil is already wet, I don't need to water these right now, but we'll pretend like they're ready to be watered. I would suggest doing it daily. Set a timer for about 20 minutes. After you water the plants, set the timer and then leave them be, come back and then dump off the excess water. So I would recommend maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe a 1/2 inch. So when you fill these seed trays up, you do not want everything to start floating. That means they're drying out. So you definitely want to be checking daily, but you don't want them to be sopping wet, because if you get them sopping wet, they're going to disintegrate. They don't have anything to hold them together. So if that soil gets heavier, it's going to break down. Try to gauge how much water they're going to need. After a while, you'll kind of pick up on how dry they are, how much water they're going to absorb. But overall, our goal is to never let these sit in water. We don't want them sitting longer than 20 minutes. Again, if you're looking for other resources when it comes to soil blocking, the Gardener's Workshop, Lisa Mason Ziegler is your go-to girl. She's amazing. She does not gatekeep, and she's got amazing resources on her website, Instagram, and YouTube. Well, hopefully this soil blocking video is helpful for you, and I would love to hear if you've ever done it in your garden. And if you do soil block, what do you do that works for you? What's your soil recipe? What types of trays do you use? What size soil block do you prefer? I really enjoy sharing education when it comes to gardening, and I always love learning more myself. I'd love to be friends, so if you happen to subscribe, I would love to follow you back and hear about your garden journey. I will see you all next time. Thanks again for always tagging along in my garden shenanigans and being here to support me.